Hey everybody, we're checking out massive subterranean complexes that were designed for various purposes, from military defense during wartime to long-term survival facilities. These bunkers are engineered to withstand everything from nuclear explosions to natural disasters. Let's start with number 15, the Vivos XO Point in South Dakota. Vivos XO Point in South Dakota, United States, is one of the most unusual communities in the world. It's located near the Black Hills, and it's made up of 575 military-built bunkers that once served as a munitions depot during the Second World War. But they've now been transformed into private, secure, and fully customizable living quarters designed to withstand a variety of catastrophic events, making it the ultimate prepper paradise. This was originally known as the Black Hills Ordnance Depot. Its location made it an ideal storage facility for ammunition and explosives, but once it was no longer needed, it was decommissioned and lay dormant for several decades. Each bunker here was built with thick, reinforced concrete walls designed to withstand significant blasts, and they're all spread out over a vast area, allowing for plenty of privacy and space, with the entire community covering an area of nearly 9 square miles. The transformation of these bunkers into livable spaces involved extensive customizations. These bunkers can be equipped with modern features such as kitchens, bathrooms, living areas, and bedrooms, and residents can opt for advanced security systems too, renewable resources like solar panels and water filtration systems. This community is designed to be self-sustaining, with plans for communal gardens, livestock, and other resources to support long-term survival. And for those that are already living there are regular events, survival training sessions, and social gatherings to bring the community together, making this not just a nice place to live, but a nice way of life. Number 14, Fort de la Hogue, Normandy, France. Fort de la Hogue on the northeastern coast of the Cotentin Peninsula in Normandy, France, was built in the late 17th century by the renowned military engineer Sébastien Le Prestre de Vauban. It was designed as a part of a wider strategy to defend France against naval threat, and over time it was further developed, particularly during the Second World War when it was repurposed as a bunker by the German military. Its location overlooking the English Channel provided an ideal vantage point for monitoring and defending against enemy ships, and it was this that made it ideal during the Second World War for being used by the German Wehrmacht as part of the Atlantic Wall, which was a network of coastal defenses stretching from Norway to the Spanish border. Thick concrete walls were added to enhance its resilience against aerial and naval bombardments, while gun emplacements, observation posts, and anti-aircraft batteries were all installed to provide a defense system. Inside the fort, the Germans constructed extensive underground facilities to house troops and store ammunition and supplies, and these subterranean bunkers were designed to protect against the relentless bombings and artillery common during the war, with the fort's maze of tunnels and rooms providing a secure environment, enabling German forces to maintain their operational capability even under heavy attack. Number 13, the Burlington Bunker in Wiltshire, UK. The Burlington Bunker, which is beneath the town of Corsham in Wiltshire in the UK, is officially known as Site 3 and was built during the Cold War to be used as the central government HQ in the event of a nuclear strike. Constructed in the 1950s in a former Bathstone quarry, it's a huge subterranean network extending over 35 acres. The natural protection offered by the quarry's limestone and bedrock provide an effective shield against potential nuclear blasts. This bunker was designed to accommodate up to 4,000 people, including the government officials, military personnel, and support staff, for a duration of up to 3 months. It was equipped with all the necessary facilities to maintain governmental functions during this period too, such as water treatment plants, a power station, an extensive food storage area, and a hospital, of course. From its inception, the idea was for it to be completely self-sufficient, and it had a dedicated railway line connecting to the mainline rail network, allowing for the discreet transportation of personnel and supplies. But what's probably most impressive about this bunker, though, was that despite of the size, it remained a secret throughout its operational years. Its existence was only known to a select few within the government and military until the 1990s, when the declassification and public interest led to a gradual unveiling of its history and purpose. With the end of the Cold War and the reduced threat of nuclear conflict, the bunker was eventually closed down. Now, it remains a reminder of tensions and fears of the Cold War era. Number 12, the Brier Bunker, Virginia. From the outside, the Brier looks like any other luxury hotel, but during the Cold War, this became the site of one of the most important bunkers in the U.S. Officially, it was known as Project Greek Island. The structure was secretly built beneath the Brier Resort in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia, and would have been an emergency shelter for the United States Congress in the event of a nuclear attack. The resort was an unlikely location for such a critical piece of national infrastructure, but its secluded location in the Allegheny Mountains made it an ideal site for a top-secret government project. The construction of the bunker began in 1958, with the facility being completed in 1961, and was a collaborative effort between the United States government and the Chesapeake and Ohio Railway, which owned the resort at the time. The bunker itself had 112,000 square feet of space and was built with reinforced concrete and buried 720 feet into the hillside. The facility could accommodate over 1,100 people, ensuring that lawmakers, support staff, and essential personnel had the resources needed to survive and govern for an extended period of time. It was a huge project, but even so, the existence of the Brier Bunker remained a closely guarded secret for over 30 years. The public and most government officials were completely unaware of its existence, with the facility maintained and staffed under the guise of a renovation project for the resort. The secrecy surrounding the site was eventually compromised in 1992 when the Washington Post published an article about it. Following this disclosure, the bunker was decommissioned, and its operational role as a congressional shelter ended. Today, the Brier Bunker is no longer a top-secret government installation, but it has been preserved as a historical site. Number 11. Bundesbank Bunker, Germany. The Bundesbank Bunker in the town of Cochem in Germany is an interesting remnant of the Cold War-era financial and strategic planning, and it was conceived for a very different purpose than most other Cold War bunkers. Constructed between 1962 and 1964, it was an ultra-secret facility, hidden beneath the vineyards and rolling hills of the Moselle Valley. The choice of the town for this asset was driven by its remote location, which offered both security and discretion. The 16,000 square foot structure was built from reinforced concrete and was designed to withstand the impacts of a nuclear blast. But instead of protecting people, though, the bunker was created to be a safeguard for the German currency. During its operational years, the bunker had a reserve of over 15 billion Deutschmarks in cash. This reserve was meant to be released into the economy to maintain liquidity and stability should the country's financial infrastructure be disrupted by war. The bunker's vaults were filled with new, uncirculated banknotes ready to be deployed to prevent hyperinflation and economic collapse in the event of a national crisis. It was truly state-of-the-art for its time, with advanced ventilation systems to filter out radioactive particles, secure communication lines, and heavy steel doors to protect against both external threats and unauthorized access. It remained completely secret during its operational years, but the end of the Cold War and the reunification of Germany, the perceived threat of nuclear conflict reduced, leading to the decommissioning of the bunker in the 1980s. It remained mostly forgotten for several decades until it was declassified and opened to the public in the early 2010s. Number 10. Titos Bunker, Bosnia-Herzegovina. Titos Bunker, near the town of Kunjic in Bosnia-Herzegovina, was officially known as the Atomic War Command and was built under the direction of Josip Broz Tito, the leader of the former Socialist Federal Republic of Yugoslavia. Construction started in 1953, with the escalating tensions of the Cold War and the unique geopolitical position of Yugoslavia. Unlike many Eastern European countries, Yugoslavia was not aligned with the Soviet Union and instead had a non-aligned stance. But this independent position made it crucial for Tito to ensure his country's defense capabilities against potential threats from both NATO and Warsaw Pact countries. This bunker was hidden beneath a mountain near Kunjic and took 26 years to complete, finally being ready in 1979. It was, of course, shrouded in secrecy, with its existence known only to a few high-ranking officials, and by the end, it's believed to have cost upwards of $4.6 billion. It covers an area of around 70,000 square feet and was designed to withstand a 20-kiloton nuclear blast. It's got room for about 350 people inside for up to 6 months without outside contact. This whole complex had over 100 rooms, including conference rooms, offices, dormitories, a cryptography center, even a presidential suite for Tito. The bunker also features state-of-the-art communications too, and air filtration systems, plus its own power plant. Tito's bunker was never used for its intended purpose. Following the dissolution of Yugoslavia in the early 1990s, the bunker lost its importance, and during the Bosnian War, the site was largely forgotten and avoided being destroyed due to its obscured location and secrecy. It was finally declassified and opened to the public in 2011, and today it's a museum that hosts art exhibitions and historical tours, drawing visitors from around the world. Number 9. Titos Bunker, Ottawa, Canada. The Titos Bunker, located in Carp, which is a rural community near Ottawa in Canada, is officially known as the Central Emergency Government Headquarters and was built to serve as a secure shelter for the Canadian government in the event of a nuclear attack. The bunker is named after John Diefenbaker, the Prime Minister of Canada at the time of its construction, who was strongly in favor of its development. The idea for the bunker emerged during the late 1950s, at a time when the Canadian government began construction of a series of underground bunkers across the country. The Titos Bunker, built between 1959 and 61, was by far the largest and most sophisticated of all of them. Designed to withstand a nuclear explosion and ensure the continuity of the government operations for up to 30 days, the facility has 4 floors and covers an area of approximately 100,000 square feet. It was constructed with concrete and reinforced steel, which did make it capable of withstanding a blast of up to 5 megatons. Inside, it was equipped with everything you'd need, including living quarters, offices, a cafeteria, hospital, a broadcast studio, and of course a secure communication center. This facility could accommodate up to 535 people, including the Prime Minister, key government officials, and military personnel. Ultimately, though, it was never used, and when the tensions of the Cold War diminished, the facility was decommissioned in 1994, with it then being preserved as a National Historic Site and open to visitors. Number 8. Cheng, Beijing, China. Cheng, also known as the underground city of Beijing, was first conceived during the height of the Sino-Soviet tensions in the late 1960s. It was built under the orders of Mao Zedong to protect the citizens of Beijing from potential nuclear attacks. Construction began in 1969 with the project involving the labor of tens of thousands of workers, including soldiers, civilians, and schoolchildren, who dug by hand and with basic tools. This massive undertaking resulted in a subterranean city that covered approximately 33 square miles, with tunnels reaching depths of up to 59 feet or about 18 meters. Cheng was designed to be completely self-sufficient, capable of sustaining life for an extended period during a nuclear crisis. Connectivity here was key. The tunnels were designed to link important government buildings, residential areas, and strategic locations throughout Beijing, allowing for secure and rapid movement of people and supplies should the need arise. With the easing of Chinese-Soviet tensions in the 1970s, the underground city remained a well-kept secret for many years, and it wasn't until the late 20th century that information about this place began to emerge. While officially it was never used, there have been suggestions that it took on a secondary role once the fears of nuclear war had passed, but these ideas remain unproven. In the 1990s, parts were open to tourists, but safety concerns and the deterioration of some areas led to the closure of those sections in the early 2000s. Today, most of Cheng has remained off-limits to the public, with only limited access granted for specific purposes, again leading to suggestions that now it's the site of a new secret project. Moving on to number 7, the Raven Rock Mountain Complex, Pennsylvania. The Raven Rock Mountain Complex, commonly known as Site R, is a huge Cold War-era installation in the Raven Rock Mountain in Pennsylvania in the U.S. Construction of the site began in 1951 as a part of a wider project to provide secure places around the country for important personnel. This particular site was chosen for its location near the presidential retreat of Camp David and its closeness to Washington, D.C., while also being far away enough to be considered relatively safe from direct attack. The complex was built to withstand a nuclear blast and ensure that key government functions continued. The facility is embedded within the mountain with extensive tunneling and reinforced concrete structures, and this construction involved extensive drilling and blasting to create a network of tunnels and chambers. The result of all this work was that the Raven Rock Mountain Complex is more like an underground city than a bunker. It features a range of facilities necessary to sustain life and maintain government, including command and control centers, communication facilities, offices, conference rooms, living quarters, dining facilities, and medical centers. The complex is also equipped with its own power plant, water supply, and sewage treatment facility, ensuring complete self-sufficiency for months on end. Over the decades, the complex has been continuously updated and maintained to keep pace with technological advancements and evolving threats. And although the end of the Cold War reduced the immediate threat of nuclear conflict, Site R continues to be an integral part of the United States national security infrastructure. It does stand ready to be activated in times of national emergency, ensuring the continuity of the government and military command, even though its existence isn't as secret as it once was. Number 6. Bunkart in Albania. Bunkart in Tirana, Albania is an underground bunker complex that was constructed during the rule of Enver Hoxha, Albania's longtime communist leader. Construction began in the early 1970s during a period of heightened tension with the Cold War. Hoxha, who was deeply distrustful of both the Soviet Union and the Western Allies, embarked on an ambitious project to build thousands of bunkers across the country, ranging from small pillboxes to extensive underground complexes, like Bunkart. The complex was completed in 1978, and it's a sprawling facility with more than 100 rooms spread across 5 floors and covering an area of almost 30,000 square feet. It was designed to serve as a command center and shelter for Hoxha, his government, and military officials in the event of an attack. The complex includes living quarters, offices, conference rooms, a canteen, and even a small theater. It was equipped with its own power supply, water reservoirs, air filtration systems, and enabled it to support its occupants for extended periods. And it was common for leadership bunkers and communication facilities to maintain contact with it. In recent years, though, it's been revitalized and turned into a museum and cultural space, providing an insight into Albania's Cold War history. It was opened to the public in 2014, and it now hosts a variety of expositions that chronicle Albania's history. With art installations, performances, and events, this blend of history and modern culture has made Bunkart a popular destination for visitors, inside a structure that's the perfect place to chart the country's journey towards a more open and democratic society. Number 5. Bunker 42, Moscow. Bunker 42, officially known as the Tangansky Protected Command Point, is in central Moscow in Russia. It is a massive underground complex that was built part of the Soviet Union's efforts to protect its government and military command structure from a potential nuclear attack. Work on it began in 1951 under the direct orders of Joseph Stalin and was completed in 1956 during Nikita Khrushchev's leadership, with the plan being for it to serve as a secure command post for the Soviet military. At around 213 feet below ground, the facility covers over 75,000 square feet. The thick concrete walls, reinforced with steel, were constructed to provide maximum protection against radiation and shock waves. With an advanced air filtration system and communications infrastructure, it was linked to other military facilities and the Soviet Union's vast network of missile silos and strategic assets. With the end of the Cold War and the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991, Bunker 42 was eventually decommissioned and fell into disuse. Efforts were made, though, to preserve it as a museum, and that's how it remains today, showcasing original equipment, historical artifacts, and multimedia exhibits that talk about the period's geopolitical tensions. Number 4. Rean West, Denmark. Rean West, which is in Jutland in Denmark, is one of the most important Cold War bunkers in Scandinavia. Officially known as the Danish Government Cold War Command Center, it was to be a secure headquarters for the Danish government and military leadership in the event of a nuclear war. Construction started in the early 1960s amid rising Cold War tensions, and Denmark, which is a member of NATO, was very aware that its location in the North Atlantic made it a target in the event of a nuclear conflict. The bunker is around 197 feet underground, covers an area of around 59,000 square feet. This includes living quarters, a command center, and a communications room, and its self-sufficiency was ensured through advanced systems like air filtration and water supplies. It was fitted with one of the most advanced communication suites in the region, with everything hardened against electromagnetic pulses or other forms of interference, so constant contact could be maintained with NATO allies. Even once the Cold War was seen as having come to an end in other countries, a level of skepticism remained in Denmark, which meant this bunker remained operationally ready well into the 1990s. Now it's a museum, detailing Denmark's preparedness during the Cold War. It is a popular destination for both locals and tourists, showing just how close things came to the outbreak of war. Number 3. Cheyenne Mountain, Colorado. Now one of the most recognizable military sites in the U.S. because of its use in a number of TV shows and movies, Cheyenne Mountain in Colorado is home to one of the most secure installations on the planet. This underground facility is deeply embedded within the granite of the mountain, and it served as a critical command center for the United States military for more than 60 years, with its main purpose being to monitor and respond to potential aerospace threats. Construction of the Cheyenne complex began in 1961 at the height of the Cold War, and the facility was officially activated in 1966. The selection of Cheyenne Mountain was due to its natural protection, with the solid granite offering excellent shielding against nuclear blasts and EMPs. The site's got around 5 acres of underground space, with its core consisting of a network of tunnels and chambers built into the mountain. The main complex is situated about 2,000 feet below the mountain's peak, providing significant protection. As such a protected place, this complex is a command center for the North American Aerospace Defense Command and the United States Northern Command. It's the nerve center for these operations and has advanced radar, satellite monitoring systems that track potential threats, including missile launches and unauthorized aircraft. Along with its primary role in aerospace defense, the Cheyenne Mountain Complex has historically functioned as a backup command center for other critical military operations, including the United States Strategic Command and the United States Space Command. This means that even if primary command centers are compromised, the Cheyenne Mountain Complex can maintain essential defense and coordination functions across the country. Number 2. The Sonnenberg Tunnel, Switzerland. Switzerland holds the unique record of being the only country in the world that has built enough bunkers to provide space for every resident in the event of a nuclear war, but making this possible required a novel approach. The best example of this is the Sonnenberg Tunnel, which is in the city of Lucerne, and it was a dual-purpose infrastructure project, being both a road tunnel and a massive fallout shelter capable of protecting thousands of people. Work began in the late 1960s and was completed in 1976, providing a direct route through the Sonnenberg Hill and significantly reducing travel time. The tunnel itself is around a mile, and it's made up of 2 main parallel tubes designed for vehicles. It was, though, designed to be turned into one of the world's largest fallout shelters, with massive steel doors, each weighing over 350 tons, that could be closed at each end to seal off the tunnel from the outside world, transforming it into a secure shelter. When this happened, the Sonnenberg Tunnel was designed to accommodate up to 20,000 people. The complex not only provided measures against radiation, but also facilities to support everyone. The shelter was equipped with advanced air filtration systems to ensure a supply of clean air, as well as its own water and power supplies. Regular tests and drills revealed difficulties in rapidly converting the tunnel from traffic route to a functional shelter, and the logistics of accommodating and supporting so many people in such a confined space proved to be more complex than initially expected. Today, the Sonnenberg Tunnel continues to be used as a road tunnel, and parts are open to visitors to see exactly what would have happened in the event of a war. The doors have, though, been decommissioned, so it can never be sealed shut again. Number 1. The Joint Operations Command Center in Beijing, China. Militaries around the world have top-secret sites where operations are overseen from, and while their location is usually known, everything else remains classified. In the case of Chinese armed forces, though, only a few details are known about the Joint Operations Command Center in Beijing, with only a select group of people even knowing where it is exactly. Providing a secure and sophisticated facility for the command and control of military ops, but what we do know is that it's deep underground, with experts believing it's the largest and most protected bunker that's ever been built. The decision to build this command center underground was driven by the need to protect it from potential attacks, including nuclear strikes, cyber threats, and other forms of modern warfare. Buried beneath layers of reinforced concrete and rock, it's designed to withstand significant blasts and other forms of kinetic attacks. The only way you'll ever get in here is if you're meant to be there. The location underground also provides significant operational advantage. The JOC is equipped with state-of-the-art communications and data processing systems. It gives uninterrupted communication with various branches of the People's Liberation Army, including the Army, Navy, Air Force, Rocket Force, and Strategic Support Force. The underground design has an added benefit, is that it helps with the use of advanced technological systems. The air filtration systems are designed to protect against chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear threats, which further safeguard personnel. Its role extends beyond traditional military operations. It's been a critical part of the PLA's cyber and space operations, which are areas that China's been investing in heavily. It plays a role in space surveillance and operations. While at first it was highly secretive, the Joint Operations Command Center has gained more attention in recent years because of its role in large-scale military exercises. A few details have, as a result, been released, not just to take control of how much is known about it, but also to let China's enemies know that, no matter what happens, they'll always have full control over their movements of their military. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you next time. Thank you to our channel members.